You're listening to another ambitious entrepreneur.network.com podcast, the voice for entrepreneurs and small business. Now, onto the show.
Welcome to the Christian Entrepreneurs Podcast, daily conversations with Christian entrepreneurs to inspire and empower Christian business owners to walk strongly in their faith, while build a thriving business that honors Him in every way. Now, over to your host, Anne-Marie Cross.
Welcome to another episode of the Christian Entrepreneurs Podcast. Yes, I'm your host, Anne-Marie Cross. This is episode 36. And for those of you who have been following along and really enjoying the amazing guests that I've had on the show, you'll notice that no one is joining me today. That's because I am doing something different. I want to bring to light, I want to talk about something that has been placed on my heart. And it's a particular topic that I've seen a lot of women struggle with, whether women working in the workplace, in the workforce, so for another company, or even right through to entrepreneurial women who had started up their own consultancies, their own business. So I really wanted to talk about this and share some insights and some learnings that I've experienced over the years through having interviewed hundreds and hundreds of women. And this is actually a talk that I gave just recently and got some incredible feedback on how helpful it has been for those women. Now, this is being provided. I am speaking about this in the context of the Christian Entrepreneurs Podcast. And for some of you who may not be Christians, this information is going to be relevant for you too. There are a couple of verses that I'm going to share in the Bible for my fellow sisters in Christ who are wanting to look at the Bible, because I really believe that each and every one of us has been created uniquely and has a purpose, has a mission, a calling, if you will, in our lives by our Creator. And, so never, ever doubt that you are here to contribute real value to the world, whatever that might be, right from at home, looking after children, right through to running, multi-million-dollar corporations, whatever that is, and in between. So now, over the years, in my honor of being able to interview hundreds of women from all walks of life, from different countries, different cultures, there's been some of the women, all of the women have been successful in their own right. And yet some of those women were in charge of multi-million-dollar budgets, responsible for generating, significant incomes, whether it be for their own business or in working in corporate. So, of course, someone else's business, being employed. And it was really interesting when you kind of think about, okay, these women had reached certain heights in their career. And when you hear about the struggles, the trouble, the challenges, the obstacles that they had to overcome, it was really interesting when you hear, and even in situations in your own life, you might have had opportunities that you're really, you put your heart and soul into trying to achieve, yet you didn't quite get there. And so I asked the question, what is it about these women that despite the obstacles, despite the challenges, despite the issues that arise each and every day, what is it about those women that just get back up? They've got the tenacity, they've got the resilience, they've got the ability to, against all odds and even people speaking into their lives, they just continue moving forward and achieve their goals. What is it about them? And I noticed that it wasn't so much what was it about them, but what was it that they did not let affect them. And I have identified three, and I want to talk about three today, what I call three dream destroyers, that if these get in your way and you allow them to shape who you are, shape your attitude, shape your approach, and in some instances non-approach, so you don't keep trying, that is going to limit your ability to achieve the success and significance, whatever that means for you in your life and in your business. And the three of them are doubt, distractions, and disappointments. And we've heard of all of these before. Yet, why, for some of us, do we continue to allow each of these three to continue to shape us or stop us from continuing to learn, develop, and grow? So let's talk about doubt. There's a quote that I have read many times, and I absolutely believe it to be true, and that is, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. And I think doubt really causes us to minimize who we are, our gifts and our strengths, and it really minimizes our self-confidence. And as women, and men too, but I'm speaking to the ladies today because I think, we really carry this flag really well when we unfortunately get stuck. Our self-confidence really minimizes and stops us from getting out there, stops us from putting our hands up to opportunities that we know we would love to do, that we're passionate about, yet we end up playing small. And there's a Bible verse that I want to share, and this just goes to prove that doubt really will destroy us if we let it. And it's from James 1, verses 5 to 8. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. Ask and it'll be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because one who doubts is like a wave in the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. And that person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. Gosh, those are really confronting words, aren't they? But it is true. If you're trying to achieve something, yet you're doubting that you are going to be able to contribute value, or that you do have value to provide, you're not going to have that inner confidence that really allows you to shine, to speak up, to share your voice, to share your message that is going to impact your ideal clients or people who need to hear your message in a very inspiring and empowering way. It is going to, if you doubt yourself, going to limit your ability to stand up, to really speak truth and life into that message. And, in your approach, it really is. I mean, you can tell the difference between someone who really has that confidence. And I'm not talking about arrogance, because that kind of stands out too, unfortunately. But I'm talking about that inner confidence where you really feel called, you really feel that the message that you want to share is going to help people who are stuck, help people who are struggling, help people who need to hear this message. And there's a level of inner confidence that just shines and just really wraps what you're doing and wraps it up and delivers it in a way that people just really take note, and it impacts them. Now, doubt will also lead to two things which I think can also minimize, and it kind of, they're all in the same family, if you will. And the first is when we start to doubt ourselves. One of the ways to increase that level of doubt is to look at what other people are doing. And sometimes that is actually the reason why that causes us to doubt what we are doing. We'll often look at what other people are doing, maybe some of their skills, maybe some of their characteristics, their strengths. And I remember as a career consultant many years ago, I used to take a couple of assessments, take clients through a number of assessments, just to be able to pinpoint some of the differences, some of the uniquenesses. And I remember one particular client was reading through her report, and she said to me, "Is there any way that I can change this?" And I said to her, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, the type of roles that I am going for require someone to be more direct, more high D." I use the DISC, behavioral analysis. And she showed up as someone that was very stable, the S and the C, and very compliant, someone who loved to follow systems and processes. She was very much someone who could analyze information, do a lot of research, and was trustworthy. And the type of roles that she was going for required a different personality type, different behavior type, not personality type, but behavior type. And behavior is really actions, tasks, what we are able to do quite naturally. And it was really sad to hear her say that, because, by minimizing the fact that she didn't have those skills, also, or by magnifying, I should say, the fact that she didn't have those skills and didn't have those particular strengths, innate strengths, minimized the strengths that she did have, minimized the strengths that is needed in certain aspects of business, of corporation. And she failed to recognize that. And so when I explained that to her, that, every single one of these skills and strengths, and that I want to say that to you today, every one of your skills and strengths, your innate talents, your gifts, that is so unique to you. Find an opportunity that allows you to embrace that and bring that to the table, because that is when you truly shine. Don't try and be like somebody else, because you can admire from afar, absolutely. But if that admiration turns to, turns inward to you, that minimizes and has you negate your own strengths and skills, and has you doubt your ability to achieve or to provide value, that is when it becomes destructive, and it will destroy your ability, stop you from achieving your goals. Something else that doubt will often do is have you, what I call, go into the, well, it's a term that you've heard before, it's not my term, imposter syndrome. And I think that will often have us think, as you know, we're in an opportunity or we're speaking or whatever the situation is, and our inner critic is saying, well, people are going to find out that I'm not really as skilled and I shouldn't really be here. Who am I to share that message? Who am I to share that message? Who are you not to share that message? You've probably got skills and a passion and have experience, over the years that enables you to be able to speak into that particular topic. So imposter syndrome is something else that can certainly, have you doubt your strengths, have you doubt whether you have what it takes to be successful, whether people are going to be interested in what you have to say, and whether you will be criticized once you do step up and step out and share your message. Let me tell you that doubt is a liar. It is a liar. So what you need to do is recognize that it can only kill your dream, kill the opportunity to kill your dream, as that quote said, if you let it. So you know what? Don't let it. Make a choice. I'm not going to let doubt get in my way from stepping up and stepping out and sharing my message. The only person that you should compare yourself to is the person who you were yesterday. What did you do yesterday? Can you do something different? Can you do something better? Can you continue to do something that you know will work and does work, and it strengthens you to continue to take the right action steps day in and day out? So don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to what you did, who you were yesterday, and continue to use that as a way to empower growth and learning. The second point about doubt is when you do look at what other people are doing and the incredible results and achievements, rather than letting it distract you by comparison to where you are, let it be a celebration that you're saying to yourself, that is great. I'm so glad that he or she achieved that level of success, because that means with the right steps, with the right attitude, with the right approach, with the right systems, the right processes, with prayer for us, Christian entrepreneurs, and with God on our side, I'm unstoppable. As we said, in the Bible, with God, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible to you or for you either. It'll seem really hard work if you continue to doubt yourself. So doubt gone, no longer. So it may take a little bit longer for you to achieve success. It might take someone 2 or 3 years or whatever, but you don't know what's gone on behind the scenes. So often we hear about overnight successes. Well, you know what? I really call BS on that, because they've probably got 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, of developing certain skills, knowledge, appreciation for that area or that topic that they are now so skilled in and being seen as an influential voice in, that you don't see all that hard work. You don't see all of the tears, but you certainly do in your own, because you're living that. So, whatever time, just you need to be really focused on that and continue, and not let your doubt hold you back. The second dream destroyer is distraction. And there's a couple of three distractions that I want to talk about today. But first, there's a verse in Proverbs 4:25 that says, look straight ahead, fix your eyes on what lies before you. Stop looking left and right. Don't worry about the shiny objects. And the other one, I really love this, Matthew 14:28-31. And this is where Peter and some of the disciples were in the boat, and there was a bit of a storm going on there, and they were really scared. And then all of a sudden they saw a shadow walking towards them. They thought it was a ghost, and then they realized it was Jesus. And Peter says, Lord, if it's you, order me to come to the water. And Jesus said, come on. So Peter got down out of the boat and he started walking on the water, and he came to Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he was frightened and he began to sink, and he shouted, Lord, save me. And at once Jesus reached out his hand, caught him, and asked, you who have so little faith, why did you doubt? Isn't it interesting? When Peter didn't keep his eyes fixed firmly ahead of him, what lies before him, or what lay before him, which, as we know in this instance in Matthew, was Jesus. As soon as he looked left or right at the storms and was reminded by all of the turmoil that was going on around him, he sunk. So just be mindful about where you're fixing your focus. And for those of you who are maybe not Christians, I mean, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on a goal? Is that your core focus? And what are you allowing to speak into your life? That's important for all of us. The inner critic, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, but also the external voices that you're allowing to impact you. Very important. Is it uplifting you or possibly not? So let's talk about the shiny object syndrome. This is where we look at either new tools, new technologies, new techniques that may be working for other people, and we try and emulate them, but they don't work out so well for us because we negate, or we don't realize that our unique circumstances may require a bit of tweaking, may require a bit of adjusting, maybe requiring different ways of using that tool or technique to be able to suit our purposes. And often we don't realize that, and we then think, wow, that doesn't work, it's a waste of time, waste of money, and we throw that out without really taking time to consider taking a step back. Because if it has worked for someone else, we just need to work out, how am I going to be able to leverage it? How am I going to be able to harness and use this tool or technique? And also too, for those of us who like new things, and I can put my hand up too, once you're learning something new, it's exciting, and then you learn it, and then you go, boring, I'll move on. But that is where you really need to continue to fix your focus, get that new program that you've developed because you love the creative side of it. Now you've got to get out there and promote it and sell it and fill it and, get clients into it. And that's a whole other skill set. And you see that you can continue to lose focus if you're not seeing things through, building things up, taking time to allow it to build the momentum that it needs to really generate the success that you're looking for. The second is busyness. And this is where, sadly, I think in the society, and a number of, top coaches and leadership coaches have spoken and even written books about this, that we almost wear the sign of busyness as an honor badge. You might ask someone, how are you? How's business going? Oh, really, really busy, and it's like, oh, wow, they must be successful. Not so much in some instances, because the busyness is really them working on tasks, or we're working on tasks, which, if we're really honest with ourselves, are not the best use of our time. They could be outsourced, so we could delegate those tasks, or we could automate those tasks, or we could really make sure that we focus, or what we should be doing is really making sure that we focus on the tasks that is the best use of our time, that only we can do. And I remember a mentor of mine many years ago said to us in the training program, in the coaching program, really what you should be focusing on in 3 areas. Anything more, it's too much, you're spreading yourself too thin. So if I look at myself in the current time of my business, season in my business, the 3 things are the podcast interviews, because unless someone looks like me, sounds like me, and has my wacky sense of humor, I've got to do that myself. I can't hire someone to do that because, I say I'm Anne-Marie Cross, the podcasting queen, and this is really where I'm building that influential voice. And it's something that I love to do. The second thing that I'm focusing on in my business is the content creation, particularly around the programs and the offerings that I have, because I've got decades of experience and knowledge that only I have because I've walked that journey. I've done the courses, I've done the hard yards, the decades of that particular area of expertise. And in this case, of course, it's podcasting and interviewing. Now, I can't hire someone to write that content for me. I've got to create that and get that out myself. So that's the second task. The third task is working with clients, my private VIP clients, around branding, around communications, around helping them get their message, or getting their podcast out, or helping them create a podcast series that they can then use to become an influential voice of their industry. That's where I really need to focus my work. So those are the 3 things: podcast interviews, content creation around the programs and the offerings that they have, and my client work. 3 things. Everything else I am outsourcing, or I'm in the process of delegating to my team as my team is growing, or automating and getting someone on board, which I'm working with at the moment, to really help me build automated systems that once up and running will continue to run behind the scenes for me. What are your 3 things, and what will you release? What will you delegate, and what will you automate, so that you're not getting busy working on the wrong tasks? Start working on the right tasks. And the third one is our external environment. And this is really around who we are associating with. And I already mentioned that earlier. And I love the way that Jim Rohn says that we are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So who are you spending the most time with? Are they uplifting you? Are they speaking truth, life, inspiration, empowerment into you and how you're moving forward and how you're progressing? Or perhaps are they draining you to the point where you really need to shake it off and refresh yourself before you can continue? And in one of my morning readings, I read a phrase that said, our gaze will guide us. We become what we behold. So I asked myself at that time, who am I allowing to speak into my life? What environments, both online and offline, am I associating myself with? And where do I go to seek encouragement? Where do I go to seek encouragement? And I know for me, I have to be so mindful because I can get distracted by the smallest of things. I know that about me. I can get excited and passionate about the smallest of things, a little tweet or something on Facebook. So I know that I have to keep my focus like this, because otherwise I'll get distracted. I can even distract myself quite well too. But here's the thing, our gaze will continue to empower us. Our gaze will speak truth and life into who we are and who we are becoming. One gaze is going to remind us of who we are and what our purpose and calling is. One gaze is going to lift us up when we stumble. Another gaze is going to remind us of who we are. One gaze is going to remind us of the incredible offerings and value that we do offer. And one gaze is going to remind us of how much we are loved. And the other gaze, not so much. So I wonder, what gaze, or where is your gaze guiding you? The third dream destroyer is disappointment. And disappointment can lead to discouragement. 2 Bible verses that I want to share with you, then we're going to dive into this and unpack it. Jeremiah 29 verse 11, for I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good, not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Philippians 4 verse 13, for I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I can do all things in my business, all things in my life, all things in my family, whatever it is for you, who gives me strength. So have you ever set yourself a goal that you absolutely wanted to achieve? You were so passionate, you were so committed to achieving this goal, so much so that you did everything in your power to achieve that. You set the right tasks, you set the right action steps, you were doing them day in, day out. You're burning candles on both ends for some of us. Yet despite all of your hard work, you were just not able to achieve that goal. I know I have over the years, many, many, many times. And it was a mentor a number of years ago that shared with us in the group that there's something that's called goal trauma. And I won't go into it today because it's a whole other topic. But goal trauma is when you did put something out there as a goal and you worked so hard that despite all of your hard work, you didn't achieve. And it creates almost a trauma around that you are scared to try again because you believe that you've created a belief that despite all of your hard work, it just didn't matter. You don't have what it takes. So you're really reinforcing that belief, that doubt, unfortunately, that you think, I don't have what it takes to be successful. And I had a colleague who was talking about goal setting, and I gave a presentation or another webinar it was for a group of high-level coaches who were doing amazing things, and we were doing this for the following year. She said, you know what, even though I achieved a level of success, to me, the bar that I had was set so high, I didn't achieve it, and now I'm scared. She said, anytime I think of even setting a goal, I get this tummy feeling. And, what happens when that happens is we don't set our goals. We don't stretch ourselves. We play small. Because if we don't set goals, guess what? We're not going to set ourselves up for disappointment, are we? Because we haven't set a barometer or we haven't drawn a line in the sand to say, we want to work towards this. So what we do is we end up playing small and we don't stretch ourselves. But what we need to realize is that challenges and obstacles and failures are just a part of life. Every single one of us goes through this. But here's the thing, the difference between you and someone who does not ever achieve their goals, because I know that you're ambitious. I know that you've got drive and you're going to get back up and you're just going to try again. You've got that tenacity and that drive. But the difference is that when we allow this disappointment to become a dream destroyer, then when we do allow it to stop us, when we do allow ourselves to not set goals, to not think big, to not dream big, to not trust that as Christians that we don't have to know all the answers. And in fact, we're encouraged to surrender, because when we do, that's when the super can go with our natural and supernatural results happen. I mean, for those of you who haven't had an opportunity to listen and watch some of the interviews, the things that these women and men are achieving and the opportunities that are coming across their tables, their desks, in their business are just amazing. There's just no amount of coincidence that you think, I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in the higher power that's, that's just directing and as the Bible says, making our paths straight and bringing us all these incredible opportunities. But unless we're taking action, unless we are moving forward, we're not going to build momentum. We're just going to remain stagnant and sadly playing small. So here's the thing. When we don't face challenges, when we allow those challenges to defeat us through our disappointments, we will never grow strength to be able to harness in the next season of our lives. And one of the things that I will often say in the quotes and the things that I share on social media is that what triggers us can possibly be our greatest triumph if we're willing to face it head on. Let me say that again, because for some of you who's listening today, this is going to speak into your life. And you need to dive back into the Bible and get some verses that really lift you up and really point you forward. That what triggers us can be the biggest triumph, the greatest triumph in our life if we're willing to face that challenge head on. If we're willing. Now, sadly, many people aren't, because it can be scary having to face that of something that just really you don't want to deal with. But that, whatever it is for you, needs to be dealt with so that you can heal it, move forward, and start to really continue to grow. And then the next time a situation similar, you've got a little bit more armor around you. You've got a little bit more because your focus is on the right, the right thing, the right person, and you just step over. And then before long, it's like, that thing happened again, or someone said something like that, or someone glanced at me that way. And you know what? I didn't even realize it. It's when you can, thank you. So your triumphs, your triggers can be your greatest triumph. So can I encourage you to use those opportunities of failure? Fail fast is a term that we've heard, or a quote we've heard over and over again. And that's because you want to get to the stage where you go, you know what, that didn't work so well. What can I change? What can I do differently? Take a step back. All right, you didn't get a result that you wanted. Rather than throw everything away and reconfirm that negative belief, which is untrue, can I just say, get out of my face? I just did, so I guess I can. It's my show. If you don't address that and step back and say, what is it about this situation that didn't work? Do I need to get more resources? Do I need to get more mentoring to support me? Do I need to maybe outsource something, delegate something, because I am stretching myself too thin so that I can focus on the right activities? Do I need to learn something? Do I need to maybe put in a couple of steps because I missed that? Or do I just need to do it again and again and again, and then be able to get some further results to see what is really working in our business and what is not? so that I can adjust, that I can tweak, that I can go back to the drawing board and try again. Don't be fearful. Don't think that you're a failure. There are so many businesses, so many people, individuals in this world that we now know that have had to overcome these challenges on a daily basis. And they didn't let doubt, they did not let distraction, they did not let disappointment discourage them from continuing to take one step after the other towards their dreams. And I want to finish with two stories of women who never let doubt, who never let distraction by someone else or themselves, or let disappointment stop them from determining a destiny of unfulfilled dreams. One woman was told that she would never make it on TV. She just didn't have the right face. She just wasn't the person for TV. The other woman was told, you're never going to make it in this industry because, I'm sorry, but you can't sing. The first person who was told that she would never make it on TV, thank goodness that she did not listen to those critics, those naysayers, and those external voices that really didn't uplift her, because we now know her today as Oprah. And the second person who was told she would never make it in the industry because she cannot sing, thank goodness that she didn't allow that voice or those voices to speak into her life, that she believed that she didn't have talent, that raw talent. So she probably continued to get lessons. She probably continued to, well, she did. I mean, I don't know her whole journey, but we now know that woman as Beyonce. Now imagine if those two women had allowed those external critics to impact their internal critics and their voices, that they would give up their dreams. They continued on. So please, if you're in a situation where you've taken a step back and you've just about exhausted because, yet again, you didn't get the right results, please do not doubt yourself. Please do not get distracted by the shiny new. Please don't get distracted by comparison and get disappointed because of what everyone else is achieving. Just refocus on what you know that you do best. Be confident that you've got the skills, you've got the talents, you've got the gifts, you've got a calling, each and every one of us has, to really make a difference in this world. You may just need to go back and change things up a little bit, get clearer on certain things, so that the next time that you step forward, courageously towards your taking action towards your dream, that you're going to get a different result. Better result than you got last time, so that when you step forward the next time around, you're just going to get bigger and better at what you do. More confidence will grow, more momentum will build, and that's what we need to continue to do when we're thinking and looking at our businesses. So hope that was helpful for you. Really want to encourage you, if you realize that you have been struggling, particularly around your brand, around your message, and it's all over the place, this is really an area that I love to support people in. So reach out. Send me a private message, stalk me. I'm on Facebook. I'm all over the internet, on social media. Reach out. Let's have a chat. Let's see how we might be able to support you in moving forward, so you can get clear, so that when you are speaking, when you are sharing, or if you're doing a podcast, the message that you're sharing is speaking to your ideal client, your dream client, who then reaches out to you to find out more information. So I hope that was helpful for you. And again, don't let those 3 dream destroyers stop you from reaching your dreams and your goals and making a difference with your message.
You've been listening to the Christian Entrepreneurs Podcast, brought to you by BeTheDifferenceMovement.com. Changing the world one message at a time. Do you feel called to influence real change with your message? Join our supportive community of like-minded influencers, thought leaders, and disruptors at www.BeTheDifferenceMovement.com. That's BeTheDifferenceMovement.com.